What's up guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the new mechanic and the new structure, tower. Now we're going to go over what upgrades are good, what you should be focusing on, and where you can find some Chaosium to fuel your tower. First things first, let's go over the basics. You can find the tower build in your facilities section under outdoor facilities. And your thermal tower will cost you some aluminum ingots, metal scraps, electronic parts, and some batteries. To be able to place this tower, you need to unlock the mimetic. This mimetic can be found in Buildings tab, right underneath Temperature Control Tree. You will see that thermal towers are here, you can unlock them and you will have the ability to place them. You cannot place two thermal towers right next to each other. They need to be quite apart. Once you place your thermal tower, you can come up to your thermal tower and you will have three options: Technology, Manage, and Depot. Before we get into the upgrades, let's go on to Manage tab. And in here, you can rename your tower, you can put a description in it, you can access settings, operation log, and recruitment messages. If you want to get access, you will have to request access, and the person who owns the tower will have to grant you access for you to be able to manage the depot and do upgrades on it. And when you go to your thermal stats, you will see how much Chaosium costs per minute for your tower to function. Now, if you do not have Chaosium inside your tower will not function. It will stop giving you those specific benefits that it gives. If you click the Add Chaosium, this will take you to the depot section of your tower. You can put almost all types of stuff in here, but mostly what you want to put is the upgrade materials. If you go back to manage, you will see that there is Chaosium waste. Chaosium waste over time collects as your tower runs. Once you click Purify button, there will be new enemies that spawn, just like your Cortex Purification, where you will defend your tower against the enemies that come from all sides. And right next to it, you will see the thermal range. Currently, we have it set up to 2. Now, you will not get access to this until you made some upgrades to your tower. It will unlock later in the game. And all you have to do when it's unlocked is hover over it and then press apply. Now once you press apply, as you can see, I converted the range of the tower to be smaller. It says 8 territories may be covered, and as you can see, you can't just keep changing in between these because it will give you a cooldown of 1 minute. If you look further right into the screen, you will see different types of temperatures. It works the same way as a thermal range, where you can hover over them, and once you press them, you will see that the temperature increases. It will start consuming a lot more Chaosium per minute, so you will have to make sure that you're topping it off. So now that we covered some basics, let's go into more detailed things like where can you place your tower? What is a good spot to place your tower? As you can see, we have chosen this area for our placement of our tower. The reason we chose this area is we have oil in this area and it is very warm. We wanted to specifically go for a warm spot because we have a lot of specializations that benefit from it. The first one that benefits us is something called heat dissipation. It gives us a lot more electricity if the temperature is really high in our environment. This allows us to put a lot more facilities in our bases without worrying about running out of power, which in turn allows us to produce a lot more resources. Additionally, you can have furnace upgrades that actually benefit from this too. There is a large furnace upgrade that will give us even more yield as we have warmer temperature. So even it benefits our furnaces. Furthermore, it benefits our crops. It allows us to get even more yield on our crops, making it really strong. One thing that is important about location other than being warm is pollution. The reason we didn't opt for pollution in our area is because we want to focus on fuel production. If you have pollution and fuel in your environment, you will see that your pump will be pumping barrel crude oil and on top of it polluted water, which decreases the efficiency of you getting oil. So that's why we didn't opt for it. But if you want to go for pollution, that's something that you might want to consider. Other places that I have seen being good for the tower placement is just near up north next to this event area. Now there's a mountain range right over here that will block a lot of base placements, but this is still a decent spot. Or you can go a little bit lower here where you can get still pollution. Other than that, another open area is right here, but be aware there's a Chaos Viewer really close to this area, so you will have to defeat him as well. And then a little bit south of Ashentown, right around this area is pretty open and wide as well, where you can place your tower. One of the best spots that I have found myself is this crater right here, but this crater is a very contested area. Unless you were lucky enough to get into that area in the first place to place your tower, this area will be really hard to get to. Just note that as you go south in the world, you will get colder as well. So you don't want to go too far south because you will get cold. The reason I'm emphasizing you to be in a warm place prior to your tower upgrades is because this will allow your current temperature, as you can see right underneath the tower, to be high even without needing to increase your heat. And if you end up increasing this heat, you will even benefit further from it because this will add on top of the current temperature. If you have a base heat of really high, you will be able to even benefit further from all your specializations. So make sure to put your tower in a very warm spot, not too far down south or not too far east where it's really cold. Okay, since we covered all of the basics about a tower, let's go into more detail. We're going to be talking about technology. How it works normally in your screen, you will see that your reactor section will be unlocked. And to unlock other sections, you will have to complete upgrades in the section prior. You will not be able to see it on my screen, but the lower tier upgrades will cost only 5 minutes of upgrade time. And your next tier thermostatic cover will be 30 minutes long. And outer defense will be 4 hours long. And your radiator upgrades will be 12 hours long. So queuing these in a most efficient way will allow you to get to the max level as soon as possible. Now, starting things off with the bottom tier, my go-to option will be heat spread for that extra 10 watts of energy. I would also go with temperature resistant treatment for that extra 30% durability on your weapons and on your gear. And I also found habitable temperature really helpful, allowing me to navigate through the environment really fast around our tower range. On thermostatic cover, if you're using solar panels, go with artificial sun. And if you're doing a lot of crop farming, greenhouse agriculture is a must for you, allowing you to get even more yield from each crop that you plant. Next, I would go with efficient refinement for your furnaces. This allows our furnaces to have less crafting time, and if you have fully perked up furnaces, it will make crafting ingots instant. Lastly on this tier, I would go with Cozy Harbor. 10 cold and heat resist might not seem like a lot, but when you add it up to your current stats, it actually makes a huge difference in surviving in harsh weather. In outer defense, you definitely want to go with full combustion. This decreases the Chaosium consumption by the tower by 30%. Also, if you do not live in an oil area and you want to farm some oil, you can always opt in for oil exploration. And for the farmers again, if you go for lush foliage, you will be getting 50% chance of an extra seed on each plant you planted. I also like cluster effect for that 15% crafting reduction for our manufacturing facilities. On the last tier, it is really important for me to mention to you guys to not go for stardust control if you do not want to live in a pollution zone. This is mostly for those who want to just farm fuel and not polluted water. And you definitely want to invest in Peril Spark for that extra level of heat. Just like Cozy Harbor, I would also go with wide area radiation. This allows us to have extra 10 heat and cold resist on top of what we had, and it gives us some elemental damage. And again, for our farmers, Chaosium deviation is a go-to for you. This will increase the deviation probability of all planted crops by 30%, making it really strong. Gulp Killer is not important for this current phase, but in the next phase when we're facing Chaos Weavers, you will be using Gatling cannons, and this will allow you to defeat them even at a faster rate. Similarly, Colossal Hunt will be your go-to for that extra damage against enemies further away. Let's talk about what happens once you do Purification. Once you hit Purify right here, the tower will start a countdown. When that countdown hits 0, a lot of enemies will spawn. Just to give you guys a perspective of where those enemies spawn, the enemies will spawn in a circular area around your tower. Now, since we're in water, you might say, oh, they do not spawn in water. You would be wrong. They still spawn in water. And what ended up happening in our last purification is it spawned right in here and it started attacking the bases and we could not do anything about them. So you got to be really careful about how you can defeat them and what you need to do about that. We currently put some turrets underneath water to be able to counteract that, but you will see them spawn in a circle area just as I'm showing you right here, and they will spawn inside your bases, on top of your bases, and these enemies will start destroying anything in their way until they get to the tower. One thing to notice, since our tower is located in the Amber Strands area and we are located right here, we're getting level 50 mobs from this region. But I have seen that if you're on the region of Onyx Tundra or Vina Fjord, you will get deviant enemies which are a little bit easier to deal with actually. And as you can see, when you hover on somebody that is doing that event, you will see public crisis event. Now you can go join this event to help the others defending their tower. However, you will not get any rewards for it. And if you're defending your own tower in your own territory, you will get rewards. Since we covered everything about the towers, now I will give you guys some tips about how you can defend it, what you can do, and what are some small things that you can do to improve your gameplay with it. To benefit from the heat when you're doing any type of harvesting or collection, you do not need your tower to be running in scorching heat or your furnace levels. All you have to do is you just toggle this, go loot your area, and then come back and toggle it off. And that will suffice for the extra benefit you get from the high temperatures. The level of enemy that spawns within your territory completely depends on the level of your tower. The lower the level of your tower, the lower the level of enemies you will get. I have noticed that after level 20, we started getting level 50 mobs. In our current phase, we're only getting regular mobs, but in the next phase, what we're gonna start getting are called Chaos Weavers. These are really tough enemies and you need to fight them as a group. Alright guys, another tip that I have for you guys is where you can get the Chaosium that you need to fuel your tower. Now we're currently at Fire Throat Teleporter. What you want to do is you want to come up the stairs around this corner. When you get to this area with teleporter, what you want to do is jump down. And as you can see in this area, you will have a lot of Chaosium barrels. What you want to do is you collect these guys. There's going to be some down here as you saw, and there's going to be more up here. And across from that area, there's going to be more. Once you're done looting this area, you want to go down to the cave area. After Tapachi, you're able to survive on this area, but do not go over on the right hand side as you will still die and it considers this as lava. Once you kill the elite on this side, you will see there's another Chaosium well where you can find some barrels. After collecting those barrels, run up the stairs. You will kill a little bit more enemies and you will see another huge well with a lot of Chaosium on it. And once you looted this, your run for this area will be over. What you want to do is go up the way that you came and go up to the teleportation tower. Okay, after flying down for a bit, we're at the church area. And in front of the church, you will see another Chaosium well. And if you loot this as well, you will get a lot more Chaosium. This run totaled us around 2,200 Chaosium just within 10 minutes. So you can do this run every 4 hours. Many upgrades in the technology use a fertilizer called Growth Boost. Now this may seem pretty easy to collect, but it is actually very difficult in our scenario. In our scenario, we do not have apples available to us. We do not have any apple trees and you cannot bring over apple seeds because they do not exist. The easiest way to get apples in our scenario right now is through something called silver axes. If you look at a silver axe, it says logging with silver axe may get you fruits, though it's not very durable. I have experimented with this and a silver axe usually gets you around 1 apple per silver axe consumption. Now this may seem very slow and very tedious, and you would be right to say so. To make this experience a lot easier, a lot of people have come with new ideas, and one thing that I have tried and it works really well is bacon burger. Now, if you have this burger on you, you will one hit trees. Now, if you're chopping down a lot of trees, you will have a lot more chances of getting those apples. Another tip I want to share with you guys is using biomass or red plasma missiles. Now, biomass missiles do around 12k to Chaos Weavers, but red plasma missiles do around 300k to Chaos Weavers. So make sure to use those when you're fighting your Chaos Weavers. Well, guys, that's going to be all from me about the tower upgrades and location and all you need to know about them. If you have more questions, make sure to comment down below. And if you like my content, hit that subscribe button so you can see more Once Human content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.